Hello, I'm Professor Humeson. Today we are going to talk about knowledge. But let me restrict it to knowledge of what is true, and ignore for now the usage of the term that refers to knowing how to do something, or even knowing who someone is. The focus of knowledge is thus going to be on when we know a statement to be true. What can be said of a statement? Statements have many properties. A statement might be empirical or a theorem of logic. A statement can be true or false. We can have attitudes towards a statement, like whether we believe it or not, and we could also talk about the evidence or justification for the truth of the statement. What this implies is that we should not make the mistake of thinking that somehow truth is dependent upon belief or evidence, any more than we should make the mistake of believing that the truth of a statement depends on how many letters make up the statement. These are conceptually separate properties of statements. These are all separate concepts, but that does not mean they don't causally influence each other. Clearly, a belief can cause a truth. If you believe the market will go up, sometimes this belief causes it to go up. If the umpire says the runner is out, merely saying it causes the runner to be out. But that doesn't mean that these concepts regarding statements are not distinct concepts. A statement being true or false is a matter of the state of the world. Whether a statement is believed or not is attitude toward the truth of a statement. Whether there is evidence for a statement is again a different matter. Whether something counts as evidence or not is objective and a matter of calculation. To say that something E is evidence for P is to say that the probability of P given E is greater than the probability of P without E. Probability is objective. But this does not rule out the possibility that we may all have different evidence. Beliefs may vary from individual to individual, and what evidence a person has varies from person to person. So, beliefs are relative. We all have different beliefs. Our evidence is relative. We have all accumulated different reasons for our beliefs, because we have different experiences. But truth is objective, since for a statement to be true it must correspond to the way things are, and things are one way or another, even if we don't know which way they are. There is another reason to claim truth is objective. We need it to be objective for us to understand what it means to believe something to be true, or to have evidence for its truth. Now, the traditional view of knowledge is that it is minimally true, justified belief. So, since the definition involves two relative concepts, belief and evidence, it is clear that knowledge, too, must be relative. What one person knows, another may not. So, we all have different knowledge bases, but this does not mean that we cannot share. To share knowledge implies one of us who did not know comes to know. How can this change happen? The feature of knowledge that is often crucial in the change of our knowledge state is the evidence. As we share evidence, if it is sufficient, a rational person comes to believe the statement on the basis of this justification. If he already believed the statement, evidence is the difference between a mere belief and knowledge. When we engage in knowledge sharing, it is unhelpful to discuss the truth of the proposition directly. You say it's true, I say it isn't. You reassert its truth, I hold it is really false. This discussion goes nowhere if we do not change the focus. Similarly, it is unhelpful to focus upon the belief feature of knowledge. You say you believe it, I say I don't. You may believe it with all your will. That is no reason for me to change my belief. Only through evidence can we share our knowledge with each other. Logic and reason is the binding that allows us to be a community with shared understanding. Even when we are alone talking to ourselves, it is still possible to use evidence and reason to elevate a statement we merely believe to the status of knowledge. But when necessary, we may have to venture into the world to gather such evidence. It is not always within us to merely access our own data and mine it for nuggets of truth. So, this is knowledge, the most important feature of which is evidence, whether that be a scientific evidence or other kinds of evidence. The reason we seek knowledge is because we want to possess the truth. But the access we have to truth is indirect, only through inference and logic. For this reason, because truths about the world are never certain, but come with degrees of certainty attached, there is always a chance with any meaningful assertion that we only think we know, and that luck and incomplete evidence may have given us a false sense of certainty. Maybe all we have are opinions, but those opinions are either true or false. Let us look at the evidence to get a better chance of discovering which are which.